It's always good to give a heads up, 2-minute heads up. That was an old Chinese tune. But it's a mighty hard road that my poor hands have hold. My poor feet have traveled this hot, dusty road. Out of your dust bowl, westward we roll. Your deserts were hot and your mountains were cold. I traveled all over your green growing land. Wherever your crops are, I'll lend you my hand. Us all over this country, us migrants has been. We'll work in this fight and we'll fight till we win. Well, it's always we ramble that river and I'll rock on your dust bowl till the day that I die. On the edge of the city, you'll see us, and then we come with the dust and we go with the wind. California, Arizona, I made all your crops. Then northward up to Oregon to gather your hops. Dig the beets from the ground, cut the grapes from the vine. Set on your table your light sparkling wine. Well, I worked on your orchards of peaches and prunes. Slept on the ground in the light of your moon. All over this country, us migrants has been, and we'll work in this fight, and we'll fight till we win. Green pastures aplenty from dry desert sand. All along your green valley, poor hands have toiled. Dig the beets from the ground, cut the grapes from the vine. Set on your table your light sparkling wine. And it's a mighty hard road that my poor hands have hold. My poor feet have traveled this hot, dusty road. Out of your dust bowl and westward we roll. Your deserts were hot and your mountains were cold. Woody Guthrie.
Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the South Fork. From East Hampton to Riverhead and Shelter Island, we worship and reside on the ancestral lands of the Montaukett, the Shinnecock, the Korchog, and the Manhasset. We take this time to acknowledge the Native people who claimed this land as home before European colonization. We honor generations of their care and stewardship with this land and with all the other beings that share this land. And we honor our relationship with our Shinnecock neighbors today in their continued struggles for sovereignty and justice. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you vote, wherever you are on your life's journey, whatever your name for the sacred, you are very welcome to bring your whole selves here. My name is Pam Wittenberg, and I am honored to be your worship associate today. I want to thank our musician, Jim Turner, for being here today. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Jim is a recording artist, solo musician, and band leader, and has performed on and off Broadway. He is a guitar instructor, mine, for example, and an authorized arts and education instructor and performer. Thank you again, Jim.
Thanks, Pam.
Our tech hosts today are Carl Wittenberg, Kent Martin, and Monica Sosada on the at the camera. It is a pleasure to welcome Bob Hatton, Director of the East End Food Institute, a 501c3 nonprofit organization whose mission is to support, promote, and advocate for the farmers, vintners, fishermen and women, and other food producers and providers on the East End of Long Island. Their members work together to create a more economically viable, environmentally sustainable, and a more efficient and equitable local food system. In 2021, Bob's organization was a HICO recipient, right? 2021? 2020, which in HICO, if you don't know, it stands for High Impact Community Outreach. And we are very fortunate, again, to have him here to tell us more about himself, the work that he does, and about the East End Food Institute. But first, let's go to announcements this week. I noticed a few things that Marines Haven is underway these colder months through April to support the homeless on the East End of Long Island. If you'd like to become a volunteer, Mark Potter is our main contact person. There's additional information about Marines Haven and how to be a volunteer in the weekly bulletin. Martha Potter, are there any other? Let's have Martha Potter come up. She's the president of our congregation, and she has an announcement for us. Martha.
Hi, everybody. I want you to get to know our board a little bit better. And so we're going to make announcements the first weekend of every month. And I want to let you know who the people on the board are. I'm Martha Potter. I'm the president. If you're either here or on Zoom, yell out. I see Patience I saw Patience a minute ago. She disappeared. Okay, Patience is not here, but she's our vice president. Ingrid Krinka is our treasurer. Secretary is Katie. Katie, are you on Zoom? I think she is.
Yes, I am.
Hi, Katie. And our member at large is Sarah Gordon. And I don't know if she's on Zoom or not. But if you have any questions, please address them to any member of the board. What the board is doing now is we're looking to raise funds, and Sarah Gordon is leading an effort to look at various UUA grants that may be applicable to our congregation. We're also introducing a new child care program, and I see we have 2 children here. That's wonderful. We'd love to invite many young people with their children. Our child care person is Kimberly, and she's sitting right over there. We're also looking at making our social media presence better, and we've want more pictures and videos of what goes on in service and what goes on in any activities that we participate in. And we're going to have a 1-hour training of how to use Instagram if people don't know how to use Instagram, to make our Instagram account a little bit more dynamic. If you're interested in that, please contact Reverend Kimberly or Sarah Gordon. There are many ways to get involved in our congregation. And today in your order of service, you have a questionnaire. And the questionnaire basically says, what would you like? What do you like to do? And I'd like you to fill it out, because we're going to look at it on the board and see what people want to do to help our congregation. It's really a nice thing because you get to know more people, you get to help build our community, and you get to be part of the activities that we do in our community. So I have a bunch of pencils and pens on the greeting table. And please, during coffee hour, take 5 minutes to fill them out and then give them to me. I said to give them to anybody on the board, but it looks like it's me today. So give them to me. And each week, if you don't have time today, fill them out over the week and return them next week. I'll be here too. And so you can join us. And anything that you wish the board to take up or you think the board should be doing, please contact me at any time. Thank you.
Thank you, Martha. Are there any other announcements out here or on Zoom? Okay, if you have announcements you'd like to make, please contact Kelly. And by Tuesday of the week, you would like it announced for the following Sunday. Thank you. Are there any visitors today on Zoom or? Yes. Welcome. I'm so glad that this is a family affair today. Okay. You can also, visitors, you can contact us. You can connect with us in the link in the chat. Someone in the Care and Connection team will reach out to you and we can fill you in on what it's like to be a wonderful member or to be active here in this meeting house. Does everyone have an order of service? If you don't, we have our greeter, Sue Penny, who has it available. And if you are on Zoom, you can find it in the chat, as well as all the hymns. Okay, our opening chalice. This is from Ethical Eating, Food and Environmental Justice, a 2011 UUA Statement of Conscience. As Unitarian Universalists, we are called to address our relationship with food. Our principles call for recognition of and respect for the other. As we search freely and responsibly for truth, meaning, and spiritual wholeness, we will make a variety of individual choices about food. Ethical eating is the application of our principles to our food choices. What and how we eat has broad implications for our planet and society. Our values, principles, and integrity call us to seek compassion, health, and sustainability in the production of food we raise or purchase. End of quote. For those of you new to UU, the Unitarian Universalist principles, and even those who are not new, they're usually written on the back of your order of service. Okay. Our first hymn is number 298 in the gray hymnal, Wake Now My Senses. Please stand if you are willing or able, and we will begin. Well, back in March of 2020, Jean Honig of HICO encouraged me to volunteer with the East End Food Institute, one of our UUCSF HICO grant recipients, located on the campus of Stony Brook, Southampton. We had just broken ground on our own community garden, and I wanted to see how a much larger, bigger, huge organization functioned with produce from our local farms. Then a few months ago, at a worship committee meeting, Ken Ettlinger mentioned Bob Hatton's name, and I finally went, like, I know this man, because I followed up on Jean's advice, and I went and I contacted Bob, and I started volunteering there. I can't tell you how wonderful their farm to community program is. You walk in, just my experience, I've been doing it for 2 summers now, on and off whenever I can. And during that allotted, very to the minute, 2 hours of time, you come in and you sanitize yourself and you put this mask on and you walk into this. First you make an appointment, which is Bob is the most organized person I've ever met. And you get your days down and your time down, and you sanitize, you walk into this amazing kitchen. Everything is sanitized, including yourself, and you start working. And there's a mountain of produce to get through. Sometimes it's tomatoes, sometimes it's strawberries, sometimes it's, everything. And you have chefs and people cleaning and freezing and cooking, and the smells are wonderful. And before you know it, it's 2 hours are done. And I have to tell you, it's exhausting, but it's got a lot to it. To know where your food is coming from, to know where your food is going, how it's processed, that is Wendell Berry at its ultimate. You don't understand food until you understand where your food is coming from and how it's being processed. So my reward is that I was told that I worked like a machine. And how could you not, if you went in and you're just like, oh my God, how am I going to get through this in 2 hours? But you work alongside people who are, paving the way and turning everything into farm food, into this delicious meals for our community, which Bob will tell you more about. So I highly recommend volunteering for East End Food Institute. For those children who are here and people, may your roots grow deep. May your branches spread far. May you find the world to be a wonderful place and leave it better for those who follow. So let's sing our children out to childcare. And the words are, I think it's number 413 in your gray hymnal, if you would like. It's called Go Now in Peace. Jim, you're okay. You can relax. We know this one. So it's go now in peace. Go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Thank you. They'll have fun down there, Bob. We support the work of this congregation through the gift of our time, our talents, and our treasures. Your financial contributions help to support the ongoing work of this congregation, including worship, our religious exploration, and community care and connection. That's another thing to volunteer for, all those things. And your generosity is reflected in the ways we're able to show up for each other in community, inside and outside these walls. Our Helping Hands Fund provides support to local organizations, and our Minister's Discretionary Fund provides support to individuals in immediate need. So those baskets will go around. You can use the link in your chat if you're on Zoom, and we'll listen to Jim.
I've been grubbing on a little farm down on the flat and windy plain, listening to the hungry cattle bawl. I'm gonna pack my wife and kids, I'm gonna take them down the Western Trail. I'm gonna hit that Oregon Trail this coming fall. Gonna hit that Oregon Trail this coming fall. Hit that Oregon Trail this coming fall, where the good rain falls aplenty and the crops and orchards grow. I'm gonna hit that Oregon Trail this coming fall. Now my land is dry and crackling and my chickens they're a-cackling, 'cause the dirt and dust is getting in their crawl. They've been laying flint rock eggs, I had to bust one with a sled. I'm gonna hit that Oregon Trail this coming fall. Yeah, my hogs and pigs are squealing, they're rocking and reeling. There ain't no water to water in the draw. I'm gonna take one by his tail, I'm gonna take him down the Western Trail. We're gonna hit that Oregon Trail this coming fall. Well, my wife gets tired nailing when that mean old dust is sailing. She wishes for the days beyond recall. If there's work there in the future in that dry land, I'm gonna hit that Oregon Trail this coming fall. Gonna hit that Oregon Trail this coming fall. Hit that Oregon Trail this coming fall, where the good rain falls aplenty and the crops and orchards grow. I'm gonna hit that Oregon Trail this coming fall. Woody Guthrie. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you so much for your offerings. As we enter into this prayerful moment, when we set aside the mundane and we share the deep joys and sorrows and concerns of our hearts. If you're in the meeting house, you may come up and come to the microphone, and you can light a candle as well. Those will finish in the meeting house, and then we'll come to Zoom and I'll light a candle for you. Those of you on Zoom, just make sure we see you. So any joys and concerns, you may come up and light a candle. Let me light one last candle for the concerns of the community and the world. The one that comes to mind for me are the protests in China for zero COVID, which seem to be making a little impact. We will have listened to Jim Turner play number 495, There Is More Love Somewhere, and we will sing with him, please. Number 95, please rise as you are feeling willing or able. There is more somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I Thank you to Tuna and Ken, and of course to you too, Jim Turner, but our new theme at the top about joy. So now it is a pleasure to bring you Bob Hatton on the equity and access to local food of the East End Food Institute. Thank you, Bob.
Hello, good morning. Hi, so my name's Bob Hatton. I'm the Associate Director with East End Food Institute. And really happy to be here this morning with you all. Thank you for the invitation, Pam. Yeah, I've been working with East End Food Institute since July of 2018. I live in Hampton Bays with my wife, Courtney, and our two sons, Tabor and Lincoln, who are downstairs now, and our 3 chickens. And yeah, it's been really great to be out here on the East End of Long Island. I grew up in Lake Grove, New York. My mom still lives there, and but spent many years kind of bouncing around, living in other places. My wife and I met out in Portland, Oregon, before we returned back to Long Island in 2018. So yeah. But in Lake Grove, I was a member of the United Methodist Church of Lake Ronkonkoma for many years, where my mom is still a member. And so it's nice to be back kind of in this kind of a setting, and feels very welcoming, and nice to be here and singing hymns and all. I was in the church choir there as well for some time. Yeah, why I'm here, equity and access to local food. I think maybe I can't really see the screen, so I don't know where we're at, but as far as oh, sure. Oh, that's fine. Thank you. Yeah, we can go to the next one. Yeah, I've worked with food-based nonprofits since 2007, and I just really kind of decided that food was where I wanted to be active, because it is such a great connector to me, to a greater sense of purpose in life. I think around the time when I was in college and trying to figure out what I wanted to do, I was kind of inspired by messaging around, trying to protect these wonderful natural resources that we have, wildlife, biodiversity, and wanted to find out where could I make a positive difference in my life to kind of connect to that. Yeah, and so I was really inspired by ideas of sustainability, the ecology, economy, and equity, and how all 3 of those pieces can interconnect. So sustaining Earth's resources and biodiversity, and economy kind of defined as management and use of resources to meet household and community needs, so that everyone's sharing in that. And equity, of course, fairness, and everyone in the community shares in the well-being, and everyone has opportunities and is treated with dignity. So that kind of framing of sustainability inspires me, and I try to find ways to work on that in my life. And East End Food Institute, I feel like, has been a great vessel for that. Yeah, as Pam mentioned, our mission is to support local farmers and food producers on the East End of Long Island, and we work with our business members, supporters, partner organizations to try to create a more equitable and accessible food system here on the East End of Long Island, and we do that in a number of ways. Yeah, so we envision the East End as a place where all farms and food businesses are thriving and supported by an engaged community, whose members understand the benefits and uniqueness of local food. To have all this local bounty here, all these farms here on the East End of Long Island, we want to make sure that those farms are sustainable financially, that they can continue to have their businesses, their farms growing healthy food on this land close by, and that everyone in the community has access to local food. I really believe that food is the human right, and that we should work together to make sure that everyone has access to the local healthy food. So we have a number of programs that we work on towards these ends. The East End Food Market in Riverhead. It's at the corner of Cross River Drive and Old Country Road, the old Homeside Florist Center. And right now in November through April, it's open on Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. We've got over 40 vendors, which includes farms, local food producers, some local artisans. And so, yeah, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturdays. And then during the spring and summer seasons, we had a market on Friday evenings, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. And we hope to grow that and expand the number of days that's open in the future. We also have a virtual farmers market. So we've created this as another way for local producers and farms to market their goods to folks living out here in the East End. And so there's a retail catalog, which anyone can shop on. I put some flyers out at the sign-in table, but you can place an order for the virtual farmers market and have those delivered to your home, or you can come pick them up at either the market in Riverhead or our location in Southampton. We also have a wholesale catalog, which we are having products that we make kind of by the case quantities, or local farms that sell larger quantities of their produce to make it accessible to, say, the local senior centers, food pantries, and other institutions. The Farm Community Program, which Pam was mentioning, in 2018, that program was kind of relaunched, focusing on the value-added processing capacity that we have at our kitchen in Southampton. And so each of the years subsequently from 2018, we've kind of adapted and changed that program a little bit, depending upon the needs of the partners, conditions in the community, COVID, for instance. So prior to that, I think there was a lot of, the organization had been serving more of a middleman to get surplus produce, raw produce from local farms, get it donated to local food pantries. But then we were able to have the farms really make those connections directly to food pantries if there was an opportunity to donate raw produce. And so the focus shifted to like, well, what if there's produce that can't really be donated raw directly, or maybe it would be beneficial to have some frozen produce that's going to last more months over the winter and can be distributed over several months instead of all at once when it's fresh and ready. So in 2020, thanks in part to that HICO grant, we were able to build our capacity by purchasing a refrigerated van. Also can go down to frozen temperatures for our frozen products. And so that's been really positive development for our ability to effectively and efficiently distribute produce and other value-added products throughout the 5 towns of the East End. And during kind of the early days of the COVID crisis, we had kind of worked with Honest Man Group. They helped us to prepare and distribute 15,000 meals and more than 5,000 pounds of local seafood to local food pantry partners. So, it was a time of crisis, and we did what we could to work with our local partners to kind of pivot and make something good happen for the folks that were having those challenges. In 2021, we kind of shifted the focus to working more with specific community groups or institutions to kind of reach out to those communities facing barriers to accessing fresh, locally made food and produce. And so we developed a relationship with Southampton Senior Center, and they've been regularly ordering from our wholesale catalog, whether it's ordering large quantities of soup to serve at the senior center, raw produce from local farms, and occasionally some other items. And then Shinnecock Nation, we've been partnering with in various ways. We first started working with the Patacohan Medicine Lodge at the Shinnecock Nation. And so they've been a partner in distributing seafood, frozen produce, fresh produce, and other locally made items to the food insecure populations on the Shinnecock Nation. Last year, we also started working, or sorry, I guess it was this year. In 2022, we started working with the Boys and Girls Club of Shinnecock Nation, and we were preparing 75 meals a week for those for the kids that are served at the Boys and Girls Club. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, we would prepare, say, an entree and a soup, or a salad and a side, 2 items to constitute a meal, 75 meals a week, distributed through the Boys and Girls Club, and we hope to build upon that in 2023. But yeah, thanks in part to a grant from AFTI, all for the East End, we were able to establish kind of a store credit for these local food pantries, working with Rise Life Services in Riverhead, CAST in Southolds, Patacohan Medicine Lodge, Springs Food Pantry, and Heart of the Hamptons. We're able to provide store credits so that these food pantries could access some of the products from our wholesale catalog. And that's been a successful partnership, which we hope to expand in 2023. Looking to add a couple more partners. Hopefully Maureen's Haven will be one of our partners in 2023, and possibly another program. So the food processing, we have the commercial kitchen, what used to be the cafeteria dining hall kitchen at the Stony Brook University Southampton campus. We really try to maximize the use of that space. We have a chef in residence. Chef Jay Lippin is fabulous. He's been working in restaurants, food production for over 40 years. And we have a whole catalog of recipes that we now can make out of using local produce. So local farms, they have their surplus, their seconds, produce that they want to extend the shelf life of. So they'll send us their produce and we turn it into tomato sauce, salsa, dips, dressings, what have you, that they can then turn into another source of income for them, selling it at their farm stands or through their CSA programs. We also do have a wholesale catalog that then, local wineries or breweries or other markets can access that produce and sell it to the public. We have a farm to school program as well. So for a few years now, we have had a farm to school coordinator who's working with 5 school districts: Bridgehampton, Tuckahoe, Southampton, Riverhead, and Westhampton. And so each month with the harvest of the month, there is a local crop that is featured. And so we connect with local farms to source that local crop, get it into local schools for, at the very least, their harvest of the month tastings, so that the students in those schools are getting a taste of some fresh local produce. And then over time, we're hoping to kind of build the viability of sourcing more local produce into the schools. But there's lots of challenges working within these big institutions to get the kind of purchasing requirements changed, and the kind of hoops you have to jump through to get these procurement contracts. So work in progress. In addition, we have a workforce development program. We've developed a training tracks program as a way to train local food and farm workers, where they come out of that having check some boxes that will make their resume more viable: first aid CPR class, food safety trainings, that kind of thing, so that either they might be able to get hired on with our team, or they can better find employment in another place locally. We have a craft program, which is the collaborative, I always forget what this stands for, but collaborative regional agriculture. Oh dear, I don't remember. Anyway, so basically we're the convener of this organization that is a group of local farms, and we do a series of tours with the farms and farm apprentices each fall and spring for those folks to really build community with each other and to kind of share kind of tricks of the trade, so they can visit other farms and see what their operations are up to. And that's been a really, really nice thing to keep going. We have some culinary workshops. We do those kind of in partnership, mostly with Stony Brook Medicine. We do a series of some workshops with the Parkinson's Center, with the Center for Women's Cancer. And then occasionally we'll do a public workshop. We've been partnering recently with Cornell Cooperative Extension to do some workshops around how to cook local fish. So it's called a Cook a Fish, Give a Fish program. And we have one of those coming up on December 13th at the East End Food Market, and the kind of the profits from those workshops go to purchase local seafood, which is then distributed to the Patacohan Medicine Lodge and their food insecure populations. So it's a nice partnership that we hope to see grow over the years. And we have our kitchen, in addition to our own kitchen staff there that does the value-added processing, we rent out kitchen space to local food producers. So it acts as an incubator for small food businesses. They're getting started. The cost of opening up your own brick and mortar store is very high. So they can come into our kitchen, kind of if they're producing at a small scale, maybe they're producing just for one farmer's market, they can make their goods, you know, in a certified commercial kitchen. And then, you know, some of those businesses, they expand and they go on to get their own space somewhere. Others, this is just the size of their business and they continue with us for several years. But that's been a really nice way to make more connections with local food producers as well, because they're right in our space, sharing that space with us. So, you know, one of the things that really attracted me to East End Food Institute when I started here is really what a whole systems approach that we have, and that, you know, we're trying to look at the East End food system as a whole and what are all the different points at which we can kind of activate to work with the local community, food producers, farmers, consumers, partner organizations working with food insecure populations to make it a more resilient and strong food system. So yeah, just something I really value. A few stats with some of the impact. So as of December 1st in this year, we've received over 32,000 pounds of local produce for processing, aggregation, and distribution. That's our highest total yet. This represents an infusion of over $92,000 to local farms and their produce. We've processed also over $13,000 of local meat, cheese, honey, and eggs this year, and diverted over 4,600 pounds of food waste from the landfill, because we do save all of our food scraps in the kitchen in buckets, and we work with Ecological Cultural Initiative in Hampton Bays. They take the food scraps and they compost them for us. So it's been a nice partnership as well. So moving forward into the future, we hope to really develop into an East End food hub, and the site where we have the East End Food Market in Riverhead, we are working on a kind of multi-phase build out of that site to host our expanded operations. The kitchen in Southampton has been great. It's served us well over these years, but we're getting a little too big for our britches. As our chef likes to say, quote from Jaws, "We need a bigger boat." So we are hoping to build out this space. We're currently in the process of submitting the plans for approval to Town of Riverhead for this multi-phase build out. First phase, we would renovate the existing building. We would have half of it as a market, have some outdoor market space, start to build a new kitchen on site, and then eventually build a larger kitchen facility with new equipment, because the building we're in is 60 years old and some of the equipment is failing and we have to put a lot of money into it to keep it going. But so we'd have a nice new kitchen facility, some more kind of rooms for public education programs, the farmers market, and eventually a farm to freezer program where we'd be increasing our capacity to bring in more local produce and get it processed and put away for the winter, distributed in different formats. And then on the back section of the property, we hope to have some affordable housing for food and farm workers. So it's all, you know, there's multi-step process, a lot of funds to raise, plans to be approved by Riverhead, but we're hopeful that it's all going to come together. We're working with some great architects and designers to get it all fleshed out. And we have some additional kind of photos and mock-ups of the plans on our website as well. So if you're interested in getting involved with East End Food Institute, first and foremost, buying local, whether it's, via our virtual farmers market or the East End Food Market, or it's just, visiting your local farm stand down the road. Those are great ways to support, what we're trying to do. We're also currently hiring right now for a new market manager and food production staff. Volunteer is a great way to get involved. At this time of year, we're not necessarily doing any of the kitchen processing that Pam's done. That's generally more during the peak produce season, kind of August through mid-November. But you can join our volunteer list and we'll send out notifications if we do happen to get a large quantity of produce in and we need some more hands on deck. We have done that in the winter where, you know, there might be, say, a storage crop like carrots that aren't going to make it all the way to the springtime. We'll buy in a large quantity of carrots and get them processed and frozen and then distributed to local food pantries. So it could be opportunities like that. Otherwise, you can volunteer at the East End Food Market if that's of interest to you. Making donations are always a great way to support the work we're doing, and otherwise just helping to spread the word. So now that you know more about us, tell other folks about what we're doing so that it grows. So and I don't know if there's any more. I have another slider. That was the last one. Okay. So yeah, that was my little spiel. I don't know. Is there questions or just? Okay. Oh, yeah, great. Well, yeah, I can chat with you more after out there. All right. Thank you.
I can't imagine life on the East End without the East End Food Institute and Bob Hatton. Okay. As we wrap things up, we have hymn number 1008 in your teal hymnal, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. You may rise as you are feeling willing or able. Thank you. The closing words for today are from Alida Smith, A Prayer for World Food Day. Sustainer, Cultivate our resilience and expand our imaginations so that we might continually find new ways to answer the call to end hunger until all may flourish. Amen. Before we hear our last hymn and do our benediction, we're going to remain in the room for a few minutes after our service concludes for informal conversation. You're welcome. We have hospitality, thanks to our hospitality person. Is that Sue? Yes, Sue Penny out there getting coffee ready. And you can sign our virtual guest book in the link in your chat. We'll be in touch with you. We hope you'll join us next week for Never One Thing with the Reverend Kimberly Quinn Johnson. If you're visiting for the first time or the 50th time or the 500th time, and you are in agreement with our values, our mission, and our UU principles, we hope you will find a home here. Now let's, in unison, let's read the benediction in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Our closing song is Take Me Home, Country Road.
I want to thank you all for having me here to play and practice these songs this week. Has added a lot of positive spiritual elevation. And I hope you sing with me on this. If everybody knows this song, you know, but I'll just do the first chorus together, just to remind anybody who doesn't know every single word. It goes, country road, country road, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home. And let's please let our voices ring out powerfully and just show the world around us how much we appreciate and how much thanks we have. Almost heaven, West Virginia, yeah, Blue Ridge Mountain, Shenandoah River, life is old there. Older than the trees, younger than the mountains, blowing like a breeze. Country roads take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home. All my memories gather around her. All my memories gather round her. Miner's lady, stranger to blue waters, dark and dusty. Painted in the sky, whoops, misty taste of moonshine. Woo, tear dropped in my eye. Country road, take me home to the place where I belong. West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home. Country road. Then I finally learned the bridge. I hear her voice in the morning hours, she calls me. Radio remind me of my home far away. And driving down that road, I get a feeling I'd be gone. Yesterday, country road, take me home to the place, East End, I belong. West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home. One more time. Country roads take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me on country road. Thank you.